Hi, this is Garry from Next Actions. Spreadsheets, they're one of the most used tools in business. They can be used to track your finances, hold lists of contacts, hold lists of leads, and well, many other admin things. But when it comes to sharing with other people, well, they often can become a right pain. There is another way. In this video, we're going to discuss Airtable.com. It's an online service which I often think of as spreadsheets on steroids. It can simplify a lot of what you're trying to do, and it can help you to get on top of your data and deliver results. So we've jumped into Airtable. Now before we go on, there are apps for mobile devices and also for Mac and I believe for PC. My preference when using my laptop is to use the web-based version. As I say, there are apps and that's down to personal preference. So what I'm going to do is give you a quick tour. So let's start by looking at the pricing. So if I click on pricing, because obviously we all want to know what it's going to cost. So if we look here, it's got a really good free level. The free level gives you 1200 records per base. So essentially that's 1200 lines in your spreadsheet. The Plus plan, that gives you 5000 and the Pro 50,000. Please note though, if you're looking at Plus or Pro, these are per user. So it's $10 per user per month. And that's based on US dollars. So I'm going to go ahead now and sign in. So here we are, we're now inside of Airtable and this is the main view you get. So the default is you've got the 6 items at the top: product planning, product launch, user research, sales CRM, content calendar and project tracker. We're not going to go and look in them, we're just going to look at how we can be using this. The test one, we're going to ignore that, that's one I just created earlier on just to make sure that what I'm going to show you works. So we're currently under the bases, so this is showing the bases that are available for Next Actions. If we click on templates, this now shows us a whole load of templates that have been created by Airtable and its users that you can use to actually start going, so you don't have to start from scratch. So I'm just going to go down here. There's an event planning one, event marketing, non-profit gala. Let's click on that. So this then tells you a little bit about that non-profit gala, about the venues, the schedules, the speakers. If I want to use it, I click use template. It's now gone away, it's thought about it, and it's created a new base for me called non-profit gala. As I say, we're not going to go into that because we're not going to concentrate on that today. Universe, this is there and it just gives you some really helpful articles, things that you can go and look at so you can get a bit more of a better feel about Airtable. So we jump back to the main screen. I'm now going to add a brand new base, so I'm just going to go and click here on the plus for add a base. It gives me a menu, so I'm going to go, I'm going to say I want to start from scratch. If you've already got a spreadsheet, well, you could import it direct and it would create all the columns that you need. Again, for purposes of this demo, we're going to start one from scratch. Right, we've got to give it a base. I'm going to call this sales data, because what we're going to do is we're going to use this to track some fictitious sales data. You can give it a colour. Let's go for a nice green. You could pick an icon for it. So, well, it's sales data. Let's go for this graph. Once we've done that, we just click on the picture. It takes us in and here we are with a blank, empty table. First thing I want to do, where it says table 1, well, I want to rename that. Table 1 doesn't really say anything to me. So I'm just going to click on the little arrow and then say rename table. I'm going to call this sales data. Hit return. The view is split up into this top line, which is tables. You can have more than one table, so it's like having more than one sheet. Below that, we've got grid view. If I click on this, this shows me all the views that are available. At the moment, there's only a grid view. That's the default that's created. We'll come back to this in a second. Next to grid view is visibility and also for sharing. View options, So here we've got some various options that we can use. Hide fields, filter, we'll come back to this. Group we'll come back to. Sort, obviously to sort the order. You can give things a colour. Row height, so if you want to change the height. And if you want to share the view. We're not going to worry about most of these. We're going to go straight in to creating our sales data table. So the first thing we do is the first column. Now this is currently called name. This is the default. Well, I don't want this to be the name. I want this to be the date of the sales transactions. So what I'm going to do, you see the little arrow on the right hand side. I'm going to click on that and I'm going to go into customize field types. Then I'm going to change it so it says date. In fact, let's call it sales date. Sales date. I click on this where it says single line text, and these are all the different types that I can use. For this one, I want it to be a date, so I'm going to select the date type. You can set the format you want. I'm going to leave that as the default, which is your local date format. Click save. There it's gone. It's now saved that data. I'm now going to come over to the notes field. Because we're going to be storing sales, well, I need to add in my sales figures. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click on notes and it gives me a menu. I'm going to move on down and I'm going to say insert left. I want to insert a new column to the left. So I've clicked on that and it gives me the new column field. So the field, it's saying field 4. Well, that's not what I want to call it because that doesn't tell me anything. So let's call that amount because it's a sales amount. It's how much we've taken. Click on the single line text. And if I go on down, I can see there's a type of currency. So that's what I want to select because we're working with currency here. We're working with sales values. The format, well, 1.00, that's correct. Currency symbol, if you want to change that, I'm going to leave that as the dollar. If you're in the UK, you may change that to pounds. In Europe, you may change that to the euro. That's down to you. Click on save. So now we've got a sales date and we've got an amount. The notes and the attachments, I'm going to leave them there because they're not hurting and we may use them at some time in the future. So sales dates, I'm selecting the first row, I'm going to double click it and it gives me a date picker. So I'm going to start by saying, well, my first sale is on the 25th of December. Next row, double click and I'm going to say the 26th. Then I'm going to keep doing that. Okay, so I'm back. What I've done, rather than having you sit there watch me creating all these dates, I've just gone ahead and created them. So I've got dates from the 25th of December all the way through to the 4th of January. Next thing, I want to put in my sales amounts. Now here you would put in your actual sales numbers. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to type any old rubbish numbers because I don't really care about the values, I just want to demo it. Okay, there they are, there's my data. This is looking good. But this doesn't really help. Yes, it's the numbers. We've got the data there, but we want to start looking at it. We want to start to analyse it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new view. So I'm going to go where it says grid view and click on that. This then gives me here, so I can find a view if there was multiple views. Grid view with the tick, that's the currently selected view. And then I can add some new views. I can add a grid, a form, a calendar, a gallery or a Kanban board. Now because of what I'm doing, we're only going to look at the grid view. So I'm going to click it to create a new grid. Here it is. It looks exactly the same except grid 2's appeared and it's in blue. So I'm going to first give this a name and I'm going to call this last year. So the idea with this is it's to show me the sales for last year. So I've got currently sales from the 25th of December all the way through to the 4th of January. To see what there is just for last year is where we use a filter. So I click on filter. There's no filters currently applied, which is what it tells me. And in blue, it's got add filter. I click on that to create a new filter. So now we have to create the criteria. So we've got where. So it's where, and it's where the sales date, which is what I'm after because I'm looking at the dates, is, well, it's not is. What I want is where the sales date is last year. So it's before an exact date. There's lots of options there, but the exact date would be the 1st of January. So I've applied that. And now all we do is we see the stuff for December. So anything from the 1st of January on has now gone. We want to create another view. So we're going to go I click on last year because my typing is terrible. And I'm going to say, right, I want to create another grid view. This one I'm going to call summary, because the idea is this is going to be a summary of my data. So the first thing is I'm going to say, right, summary, well, I want to group it. So let's click on group, and it says there's currently no grouping applied, which is good because it's a brand new grid. Pick a field to group by. So if I click on that, we can pick the field we want. So let's go and click it on sales date. So we're grouping by sales date. So this has now grouped them, but let's be honest, it's not really useful, is it? Because we've got one row per day and it's grouping it by that date, so we're not actually getting any value from it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the grid view. I'm going to go over here to the plus on the right hand side and click on that to add a field. And I'm going to call this week number. So what I'm going to do is add in the concept of a week number. Now I can change how I group this. I'm going to leave this as a single line text. Because it's just a field, you can call it anything you want, but we'll leave it as just that single line text. For simplicity, we're going to pretend a week is only 4 days because I don't have a lot of data, so we're going to do it that way. So we're going to say the first 4 entries, well, they were week 1. The next 4 were week 2, and the final ones, well, obviously they're week 3. So we've now put that in. If I then go back to summary, again, remember we've grouped this by date. What we're going to now do is we're going to go back to that grouped field, and we're going to, instead of grouping by sales date, we're going to group it by the week number. And what that then does, it goes away and collects all the week 1s together, all the week 2s, and all the week 3s. So let's look at this. So yes, here we've got all the week 1 grouped together. So it's telling us it's week number 1, which is the 25th, 26th, 27th and 28th. Under the amount column though, this is where it's actually grouped the data together. The default is it creates a sum. So what it's done, it's actually summed all that together. So we can see in week 1, we had $8,323 in sales. Week 2 was $25,255. Week 3 was $40,556. For most people, that's, to be honest, all you want. But there are different ways to look at that data. So if I click on the little arrow next to sum, this shows us the different values that there are. So what I can then say is I don't want to look at the sum, I want to look at the median. What's the median sales per day? For week 1, it's 2,332. For week 2, well, it's only 1,350 because that one day bumped it up. Similarly, for week 3, it's 5,667 because of one day which bumped the figures up. If we want to look at what the average is, we can look at the average. So we can look at the data in different ways very quickly and very easily. And then we'll go back to sum. So this is just an interesting way and a quick and easy way to start looking at data. What if we want to look at this and think, I'm not interested in last year's information, I just really want to look at this year's. Well, you've already grouped it. You can just go straight in and you can add a filter. So let's go and add a filter and we can see the sales date. This time we want on or after the 1st of January. So now we've got grouping, we've added a filter, and we can see that data really quickly. So it's got the power of those high-powered spreadsheets, but it's all web-based. Do you have something that you could use Airtable for? If you do, then can you put a comment below? If you liked this video, please hit the like button. Do you know someone who would benefit from this video? Why not share it with them now? And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you can get new videos as I release them. It was a very quick video covering just a few of the things that Airtable can do. There's a lot more power and functionality that's still there waiting for you to uncover. Can you think of something that you'd like to use Airtable for, but well, you just don't know how to set it up, how to get started? why not give me a call and I can help you to configure Airtable to help support you and your business. Working together, you can get the results you deserve. Please reach out to me on 0415 591 672. I'm based in Australia, so please use the international dialing code +61 if calling from another country. You can also email me on garry@nextactions.com.au or visit nextactions.com.au where you'll find a link to book a free short introductory call. Do you have any topics that you would like me to cover? If you do, please drop a comment below and I'll add it to the list of upcoming videos. Don't forget to like the video and to subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.